In this episode of Divorce Step by Step, we're going to be looking at your discipline while you're going through the divorce. I work with lots and lots of parents who struggle because they feel very guilty about what's happened. So they let their discipline slip. And I think really that's setting yourself up for a bit of a problem long term. Because in the short term, it's fine that you say, oh, don't do that, and they don't listen to you, or they don't brush their teeth, or go to bed when you say to them the first time. But long term, you're setting yourself up to find a real big battle, because kids need firm, fair, consistent boundaries. I often describe children as like a sheep in a field. If you imagine there's a sheep in a field and there's a pen around them that's quite healthy, that they can push against it, they can mooch about and they can move around. And that's a healthy boundary around a child, and they like it. They feel safe, they feel secure, they feel loved, and they feel relaxed. Then you've got another sheep in a field where there are absolutely no boundaries around them at all, and they can go anywhere, do anything, and in fact they become quite terrified, and they push even harder actually to try and get you to put in some boundaries. And those are the families, unfortunately, that sometimes end up off the rails, where the police or the social services are putting in the boundaries. And then there's another one where the boundary is so tight around the sheep that they can't breathe, they can't move, they can't do anything. But often with the parents I'm working with when we're going through a divorce, or they're going through a divorce, it is the fact that they feel guilty, they're tired, they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted, and so they let things slip. And as I say, that's not a great thing. Now, there are 4 styles to parenting. And you might recognise one or two of these yourself, and to sort of ask yourself, which one do I fit into? The first one is the authoritarian style, where you are telling your child all the time what to do, and you're not really asking them, you're not very flexible, you just tell them because I said so. And long term, that can often set up problems, because toddlers find that very challenging, and so do teenagers. So the telling and the direct type of parenting is often not a great one. Then you might find, because of the things that you're going through, you may come back into being more uninvolved, and that is detached. And children actually sense that and feel a little anxious about you not being involved and not really talking with them. They feel as if they're excluded from some of the process. So that can be a problem. And then there is the other one where you are sort of trying to be your child's friend. That's called the permissive style of parenting. And again, this is not a good idea if you start confiding in your teenager about some of the issues that you're going through with the divorce. The one that other parents have is the authoritative style, which is actually the preferred style that I work with, the parents that I work with all the time, trying to enable them to be somewhat flexible, give their children rules and have consistent and firm rules for your house. It's not about me telling you what to do, it's about you finding the rules that you want for your house, but following up with them, being consistent. So if you always say you want something done with your kids, going through the divorce, keep that rhythm and keep that pattern the same, because children are going through everything else, but they understand and feel safe if you keep to your rules and boundaries. So I think you need to be mindful about what style you have or you've had in the past, and to start thinking about it. And again, it's just to notice these things, because becoming self-aware is really what it's about. And as you go through the process, you'll notice perhaps your ex has a very different style of parenting, and kids are allowed to stay up much later in his house or her house than in your house. But again, this is about letting it go. You can only control the things in your environment. So keep to some firm, fair, consistent boundaries, and your children will benefit and feel more secure. Look out for more Divorce Step by Step videos when we'll go into even more detail.